HBO is officially fixing Game of Thrones Season 8. There's been a lot of news this November about Game of Thrones and its spin-offs, one of which could alleviate a lingering pain from the fantasy drama series. In the past couple of days, we've had announcements about A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms and House of the Dragon, and fantasy fans are living well. Both prequel series have been renewed through 2028. It's a good sign for AKOTSK and an expected reward for HOTD. House of the Dragon has been instrumental in rebuilding the Game of Thrones brand after a less than ideal finale to the show. Now, Game of Thrones may have a chance to redeem itself with a sequel series. Along with House of the Dragon and A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms getting renewed through 2028, George R.R. Martin revealed at the 2025 Iceland Noir Festival that there is a sequel to Game of Thrones in development. In fact, his exact words were, "a sequel or two," which is 2 more sequels than most people expected. Martin said this during a panel, and it was in regard to a question about what new shows are in development. The fantasy author mentioned House of the Dragon, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, and the upcoming Aegon the Conqueror prequel series, but did not indicate what the sequel series would cover. My trouble with Game of Thrones began with Season 5, but Season 8 was such a drop that when I think about all the problems I saw in the series, everything gets overshadowed by 8. It serves as a convenient receptacle for all the sins of the show, because cracks exploded wide open as the show crawled to its end. One of my biggest issues with Season 8 was how unfinished and poorly planned it felt. However, these are 2 problems that a sequel series could easily solve. Perhaps we could see more of Bran as king, Jon living beyond the wall, Arya going west of Westeros, or Sansa leading the north as queen. We rushed to the end of Game of Thrones in Season 8, and the truncated storylines hurt everyone. Why was Bronn the master of coin? Why didn't the Iron Islands earn their independence along with the North? Why does Jon have to be exiled when the Unsullied left Westeros anyway? Sequel series could allow these storylines a chance to breathe and explain themselves. Perhaps a war with the Iron Islands is imminent. Maybe Jon can more clearly show why he wanted to return north. Maybe the politicking in King's Landing can show why a sellsword should have as much right to rule as a prince. There are plenty of directions the series could go that would help rectify the wobbly finales Game of Thrones Season 8 gave to its characters. Whether it's a sequel set right after Game of Thrones or years in the future, they will go a long way to removing the bad taste of the show from people's mouths. One thing that's likely to never happen is that HBO will remake Game of Thrones. Anyone hoping that we will get a redo of Season 8 can go stand in line with those who think that the winds of winter and a dream of spring are right around the corner. At least it won't happen for many years. People probably thought there was no chance Harry Potter would receive a major adaptation after the successful movie franchise. But now Harry Potter is on its way to HBO Max. So never say never, I guess. But I think it's more likely HBO will fix its Game of Thrones problems with prequels and sequels. For the past few years, HBO has kept Game of Thrones going by looking back further in its history. While that's not changing for the rest of the 2020s, creator George R.R. Martin revealed the TV franchise knows it has to move forward and indeed plans to do just that. Our next visit to Westeros will be with A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which arrives on HBO and Sky on January 18th. In the meantime, check out our guide to all the other best new TV shows on the way in 2025 and beyond.